Fall Guys just leaked the next update a few days early. Literally, how the heck does this happen? It's meant to launch on Tuesday the 27th of May 2025, but they accidentally pushed the update to Xbox early. They quickly reverted it, but not before people got in and found everything. So let's talk about the new features, objects, theme, stickers, Unvault, and more. This seems like a pretty big update compared to the last few. Huge shout out to T-Man and Mome for giving some screenshots and info from this update, as well as Seahuman helping to compile some of the information. I've linked their Twitter handles in the description for you to check them out. Let's jump straight into the main theme of the update, Yeetropolis. Obviously a merge of Yeet and Metropolis. They always cook with the names of these things. You can see right here that the menu theme matches this. It looks so peak, it's crazy. It's weird that we went from kind of dark backgrounds with Dragon Cave and the Woodland themes to this bright, colourful Yeetropolis theme, but I dig it, it goes hard. There's also another theme to talk about in a few minutes, but let's finish off talking about Yeetropolis first because it has quite a bit of stuff. Obviously a brand new theme comes with brand new decorations, and this one is no exception. We finally have Jumbotrons in creative, which are these billboard advertisements you see in some classic levels. There's no setting to change what's displayed, but it's animated and changes itself over time. The second decoration is a traffic cone, absolutely legendary, and there's a traffic barrier and a lamppost surrounding it. These work really well with the new theme, but I can also see these three being especially useful for the scrapyard theme too. And the fifth and final decoration is this Neko cat. I'm guessing its arm is animated. I don't know what these are called, but I'm sure you've seen these waving cat things before in real life. Along with the skybox and decorations, there's also a colour palette for Yeetropolis. I know you can pick any colour you want now, so this technically isn't new, but obviously it helps you a lot with knowing what colours to use and finding them faster when you make a level in this theme. Unfortunately, this theme seems to have no new music to go along with it, just like last update didn't. We were kind of spoiled with the Fallen Fantasy update in February, bringing new menu music and new gameplay music and remixing the loading screen and qualified jingles. They're giving us a break now, sadly. But what they didn't give us a break from is VFX. First introduced in the last ranked knockout update, these have been expanded upon with 3 new VFX to add to your levels. One is Cherry Blossom, one is Rainfall, and one is Snow. Genuinely really cool additions. These latter two will definitely work in multiple themes of levels too, and not just for new theme. Apparently there's also 7 new stickers, which is just insane. You have to remember, even if you don't personally make creative levels like I don't, these will still impact all the levels you play. Explore, Spotlight, Customs, LTMs, even Mediatronic's knockout levels, so you should be so down for all of these updates and features. So the 7 new stickers are on screen now, and they are Tech Warning Sign, Horizontal Sign, Vertical Sign, Tech Corner, Tech Shape, Graffiti, and Cityscape. Some fit the update theme, some are just there to be there. Either way, it's awesome. There's also a new toggle lighting setting on stickers, which decides whether the skybox's lighting affects the sticker or if the sticker will just be the same colour regardless. This helps you use exactly what colour you want without worrying about the skybox changing it if that's not what you're going for. There's obviously things beyond creative in this update, by the way. I just still have a few more things to talk about relating to creative. Here's something that will really affect creative gameplay wise rather than just visually, and that is some rotation controller changes. Lily pads, bumpers, and trigger zones can now be affected by the rotation controller. Trigger zones sound especially exciting. I can imagine plenty of points levels requiring you to stay in a moving zone. Right now they were kinda limited by needing to keep you or the ground moving instead of the zone. You can also pause and resume rotation controllers now using buttons and pressure plates. This seems absolutely huge to me. This can either be a thing where you find a button in a level to make something rotate to progress or unlock a new path or anything like that, or it could also be a thing where an object way outside of the level automatically hits a button or pressure plate at a set interval or a random interval to make rotation stop and start. I can't think of how I'd use this myself, but I just know Fall Guys creative users are insane and they will find some crazy ways to utilize these new mechanics. Related to buttons, triggers, and rotation controllers is the ability to hide links now when you're editing your level. This isn't a huge deal, but it lets you take clean screenshots of your level without those being in the way, and will also prevent them appearing in your level thumbnail, since that happens sometimes for some reason. There's also start zones now. We already have starting lines, which are ugly in a lot of themes. We already have start points, which take a lot of budget to place a lot of, but now there's actual start zones that work in the same way as checkpoint zones. You just draw a box and beans will spawn anywhere in that box when the level loads. That's going to be great for helping people save budget and keep their levels looking clean with a custom starting area. The final creative addition before we talk about other stuff, remember earlier I talked about the main skybox? I called it the main skybox because there's a second one too, which is the stadium skybox. That's right, you can make levels with the SS1 one background now. This is actually convenient because this is the last update before the 3-year anniversary of Fall Guys Free-for-All, which happened on the 21st of June 2022. So the anniversary is 3 to 4 weeks into this update. Don't know if that's intentional, but it's still cool either way. And I know this is nostalgic for a lot of people and in a lot of people's favourite themes, so it's cool to see it's in already quite a significant update. Okay, let's talk about levels now. The Unvault, Knockout Refresh, and new levels. Sadly, there isn't actually anything to talk about with new levels. It seems Mediatonic made sure these wouldn't leak. Pretty sure they just straight up aren't publishing them until the update officially releases. New levels weren't appearing in the level selection carousel, and there were random disconnects related to loading creative levels. So yeah, I think they just made sure those wouldn't leak, and they'll still be a surprise for us on Tuesday morning. Obviously though, they'll use the new theme. Not sure if we'd see any stadium themed levels, but we should surely see multiple Yeetropolis themed levels in Knockout and Ranked. If you've been paying attention, you might notice for the past few update launches we had a certain theme of level in Knockout and now Ranked, and then an update launch LTM would have a different theme of the same map. So for the winter update it was a winter show, for February's it was a Valentine's show, and for April's it was an April Fool's show. Since this update launches at the end of May, close to June, it'd make sense to have rainbow themed levels for Pride Month, but if they didn't care about the time of year, I could see them trying to make stadium versions of the Yeetropolis levels. I don't know, I guess we'll see. They also each had an easy event tied for them for 2 or 3 weeks for a free costume, along with a harder event in the challenge tab awarding a variant of that costume. There's a small chance they switch it up, but since the past 3 updates did this, I'm expecting this one to launch in the same way. I think it was also around 5 new levels per update, and then they'd make 3 to 5 variants of them for the LTM, so again, that's my expectation here. Speaking of levels in Knockout though, what else changed? The only thing I heard is that Hyperdrive Heroes and Mind the Gap were added, which is a huge W. I feel like maybe Mind the Gap is a bit outdated since it's from the Scrapyard update in September, but hey, I still like it, and Hyperdrive, everybody loves Hyperdrive, come on. Should be perfect for Ranked too, since it's quite a difficult level with no elimination cap. In a sweaty lobby it might not eliminate many people, but also there's room for grabbing, so we'll see how that plays out. We don't have the full knockout round pool though. Since the update was Xbox only, leakers can't really grab the files and take a look at exactly what's in there. I'm just going over what Mome and T-Man have said they found while playing the update early. And what it sounds like is that they didn't actually completely refresh Knockout. I already heard that Kraken Slam, Clumsy Crusade, Full Tilt, Slippy Slopes, Button Bashers, Track Attack, and Dragon Dashes are still in there, and that was just from a few matches. So I think they're taking the strategy of, instead of Knockout having an entirely new pool each time, they'll actually keep most of the levels the same and just rotate a select few and also put the new levels in there. I don't know how to feel about that. You'll have to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I guess we have to actually play it for ourselves when the update releases to get a proper feel of what the variety is like and how different it feels to the last update. Also remember, when I talk about Knockout here, it shares a round pool with Ranked, so they're the same thing basically. Alright, let's move on to the other new level. Well, new to most players because of how long it's been gone. It's Hoop Shoot, my least favourite vaulted level. I don't like this one, but love it or hate it, it's coming back. It appears like it's not actually in Knockout though, thankfully, just in classic mode. The main reason I dislike it is because in a high skill lobby, everyone just has to do the same route and just kind of hope the game doesn't randomly ragdoll you or have you randomly get body blocked. But since it's not in Knockout and so not in Ranked, maybe I won't dislike it so badly. This was released in SS3, then vaulted in SS4, so it will have officially been vaulted for 748 days when it returns in this update on the 27th of May. It's the second longest vaulted level, of course behind Cosmic Highway. Maybe we'll see that next update. I'm coping so hard for it, but I have like no evidence. Now let's talk about LTMs real quick. There's nothing related to them in this Xbox build, but just based on the last few updates, I'll make a couple predictions. Of course, we should start with an update launch LTM like I mentioned, having alternate versions of the new levels. Then halfway through the April update, we got a new show called Squad Spectacular, and the update before had Wilderness Falls. I could see us getting something new in that vein. Hopefully closer to Wilderness Falls because I loved that show so much. And for the last week of the current update, we've got Bouncy Bean Time with new levels added. They could do something similar again with a different mode. I wish we knew what to expect here, but I guess surprises are fine too. Now, Kudos. It will be easier to earn Kudos now, like way easier. If you're a legacy Fall Guys player, you'll remember you used to get Kudos for just playing rounds, and this was removed in free-for-all. Well, this update brings it back. It seems like a flat 30 Kudos for each level you finish in Explorer and Spotlight. Numbers seem to vary slightly in other shows depending on if you win or something. It hasn't quite been figured out yet, but either way, it's good. 30 obviously isn't a lot, but if you play just a few levels every day for a few months, it's going to add up obviously. Kudos Mastery costumes last 16 weeks and cost 18 9,000 kudos. That's 600 levels in 16 weeks just to afford one of the 3 costumes. Obviously that's insane, but maybe that's doable. Then with kudos from ranked rewards and the fame pass, you could afford another one, and yeah, it's getting better at least. They still have a long way to go with making kudos accessible, but this is still a very good step, and I think it's important we give them credit for this so they know to keep going with it. Alright, here's a major change that I'll save Fall Guys. The end of Skyline Stumble looks like this now. I don't know what happened here. It's not something that matters, but how did this happen? Okay, let's talk about something you actually should care about, which is the Fame Pass. While this didn't explicitly get leaked with this update, they always put the next Fame Pass costumes in the current update. So the current Ranked Knockout update actually has the Fame Pass stuff for this Tuesday's update in it. Of course, based on some of the decorations and stuff, you might be able to guess the theme is some kind of Japan-inspired futuristic vibe, which I think is awesome, and that carries over to the Fame Pass. Here's some costumes that are likely to be in it, though take this with a small grain of salt since obviously these are just predictions and some might be for the item shopper event instead. There's this Robo Ronin costume I could absolutely see being in the pass. There's these VR beans that I don't think fit the Japan vibe, but they do fit the futuristic vibe. Then there's 2 noodle themed costumes, Noodle Spill and Oodles of Noodles. I also need to point out the pun on phenomenal nom, that's wild. There's also the Meow Mirai, just another amazing pun I think we should all appreciate. And the last 2 that kind of fit this theme are these Cyber Sumo costumes and the Cyber Geisha costumes. Geisha? Geisha? I don't know. There's also these Geisha flower and noodles patterns that I'm sure will be in there to match the Geisha and noodle costumes respectively. I'm just going to pronounce that differently every time and maybe I'll be right on one of them. These are the 4 emotes that were added to the files in the last update and stayed unreleased. I have no doubt we'll see 1 or 2 of these. I think 3 of them fit the theme, to be honest. As for banners, the Noodle Nosh one has to be in there. Maybe Koi Koi too, because it's literally codenamed Neo Tokyo. There's the Wasabi Win celebration, which I sadly don't have a video of, but you can see the icon, and yeah, we're definitely getting that. I also expect we'll get some of these 3 emoticons. There's a surprise Koi Koi, a sad Noodles to go, and a Robo Ronin emoticon. Again, grain of salt please, not every single one of these will be in there, but you can safely expect most of it will be in the Fame Pass. This pass should be available from Tuesday the 27th of May until Tuesday the 22nd of July, 8 weeks from the start of the update. It seems like we're on a cycle of every update being 8 weeks now, and the Ranked Knockout blog post also said that new ranked cycles will begin every 8 weeks, and for the current update, stuff like the LTM schedule, newsfeed schedule, Fame Pass, etc. all lead to Tuesday the 27th of May 2025 for this update, so I just wanted to make sure that you knew why I was saying that date even though it's not officially confirmed. It should also be at 10 AM UK time if that's important to you, and I'll also have videos out as soon as I can, so make sure you have notifications on to be the first to know about the update stuff that wasn't leaked in this video. But we're going to cover everything else we can because there's still a bit more. Let's talk about the rank changes to expect with the new cycle. Of course, alongside this update on Tuesday, there's the ranked reset. Cycle 1 ends, you can claim all your rewards, and Cycle 2 begins. Here's a quick refresher of what the rewards are on screen now. Even if you just played a single match of ranked, you'll get 100 kudos. If you're gold, a star or superstar, you get the respective emoticon. If you're star or superstar, then you get the Supreme Idol costume, and of course the most exciting reward for a lot of us, superstars get 150 crowns and 10,000 kudos, and even some of the lower ranks get good amounts. Right, that was all probably obvious though. What happens to your rank after a cycle reset? Well, it looks like you go back down to Rookie 1 according to the official blog post. I think this is fair because Fall Guys ranked is a lot less grindy compared to some other games ranked modes. It might be too fast to reach superstar if you already start somewhere around silver or gold. Okay, but what changes will be made to ranked? We already talked about what we know about the knockout and ranked round pools, and the ranked rewards will also change, which I'll touch on in a minute, but it's also possible some more core mechanics like the matchmaking and earning/losing points change based on our feedback. Mediatonic has been looking at what everyone has to say about Fall Guys ranked, so depending on what they've seen and what data they've gathered, we could see some tweaks to try and balance it better. Remember, ranked is meant to be casual friendly, but also meant to get real sweaty for the sweats who want that, so it's hard to balance, and I honestly think they'll mess with stuff every cycle for the time being, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what they do on Tuesday. Until then, we can at least speculate on the rewards. These were some of my guesses for Cycle 1 when I made my initial video about ranked in February, but obviously it turns out the Supreme Idol is really the only thing we got, so any of these other ones could be used for Cycle 2 instead. There's a "you dropped this" phrase, which they also added a new version of in the last update, and a crown wreath phrase that says destined for greatness. There's also trophy backpacks, which I still think would make sense as lower ranked rewards if they decide to have more cosmetics in Cycle 2 than Cycle 1. Also for Cycle 1, we had these gold, ace, star and superstar emoticons that all say C1 on them. I believe these will be remade just saying C2 instead, of course indicating Cycle 2. There's also other cosmetics I could see like the Supreme Idol regular emoticon and Shishi Guardian costumes and a whole lot more, but honestly most of my speculation here is bound to be wrong, so I'll not spend any longer talking about that. This update is honestly really exciting though. To me it feels like the biggest one since Scrapyard. I know some people won't immediately realise how significant a lot of the decoration is and a lot of the rotation controller changes, but I think give it some time, see the official Mediatonic levels on Tuesday, and then see what the Fall Guys community can cook in the days and weeks following it, and you'll be very pleasantly surprised at how much unique stuff can be done here and how awesome some of the levels can truly look. Stay tuned for more content on this update if we learn anything more or just when it releases in a few days. In the meantime, here's plenty of awesome stuff to make the wait go a little faster.